think it's kind of common for like me and my girlfriends when we would be going out, we'd have like these conversations of like, oh, what we want our future to be like, or, what's our plans. And we would discuss, fertility a little bit, and we would discuss like, oh yeah, 5 years down the line, we'll look at that. We want to focus on traveling and work and that kind of side of life first. And then I met one friend who she kind of told me about her egg freezing experience and how she discovered she had a low AMH. And I was like, oh, like, and she was 2 years younger than me, I think, at the time. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, so maybe like this is something that I should look at. And I think when you're surrounded by it every day at work, it is kind of, oh, I wonder. So I think it was a Monday morning. I was like, oh, I think I'll just find out and see like what's mine like. Do I have, a bit of time like to look at these sorts of things. So yeah, I just decided the Monday morning, and I spoke to some of my colleagues here, and they're like, yeah, come on down, we'll do your bloods, all that sort of thing. And I didn't really think much of it. I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it, let's find out. And I remember talking to Mikey at the time, and I was like, I want you to give me my results when they come back. Not really expecting them to be bad, but I had a bit of a gut feeling. I was like, something is probably going to be here. No idea why I thought that. And then, yeah, he came up to me with the paper in his hands and said, oh, do you want to sit in the office? And I was like, oh, so it is bad. It's not good. Um, and yeah, he sort of explained it to me, and he was like, look, this is something you don't sit on. This is something you act on now. I felt so out of control. I felt like my body was totally betraying me. Um, but I felt by doing something, I was taking back some of that. I'm a bit of a control freak. It's part and parcel of the job as well. So I needed to have some of that back. And by speaking with Dr. Alex and him being so like candid and kind to me, I felt much better after talking to him. Yeah, he but straight away got put in my prescription. We got everything sorted. I collected my huge bag of medication, trying not to be completely overwhelmed by it all, and just focus on taking each day like the next steps. Yeah, I think I had to wait like 2 weeks until sort of it lined up with my cycle. But again, your body just doesn't behave the way you want it to sometimes. And I was waiting and waiting, and normally, you know, I think the stress gets to you a little bit, and you're just sat there waiting for something to happen, and you're like, come on. Then when the day one scan happened, like I'd never had that kind of ultrasound before. I've never like experienced sort of that kind of stress either. Like it was very scary, I suppose, going into it. But the girls, like, they're just incredible in scanning. Like they're so kind to you. They talked me through it all. They, you know, chatted to me normally. Didn't make me feel weird about the whole process. Unfortunately, that day, I think my hormone bloods came back, and I just wasn't ready to start. So we had to go to another plan, which when you're so like hyped up and mentally ready for it, it's really, you feel disappointed, you feel all the emotions again. It was kind of a bit of a whirlwind, really, but then naturally, because my body just didn't cooperate, I then had to wait another kind of month, I suppose, to get going again. I think that gave me a lot of time to prepare a bit more mentally for what was to come. There was a big sense of deja vu coming back in for the scan again and the bloods. And again, the bloods still weren't the way they were meant to be. And sort of Dr. Alex sat me down immediately when we got those blood results back, and he was like, look, I think we need to just take the plunge and start the stimulation medication. And kind of knowing that he sort of gave me a guideline of maybe like 70% chance of it not working, that by the Friday when I had another scan, nothing would have grown, nothing would have happened. So I was like, do you know what? Let's just give it a go. I got into this point, I was so ready to start. I had gotten myself so hyped up, so prepared, like all the medication was sat in my fridge waiting to go. So I was like, just do it, let's give it a try. And I'm grateful I did, because lo and behold, the Friday came for the scan and I actually had like a couple of follicles growing. So I was like, yes, there's something in me, it's working. So we were pleased. I think they were definitely slow to grow, but they got there. Taking the medication was tough. Like, I was on a very sort of easy protocol, I would say, compared to what most women have to do. Like, the things they have to go through, they're incredible. Um, but it was still like, it took over my life for 2, 3 weeks of just making sure I was there for the injections on time, making sure I was ticking off on my little injection sheet that I'd taken all the right medications at the right time. There's a couple of things that sort of kind of got me through it. And, I was trying to get out every day for a walk, no matter what. That just really, really helped. I had like a couple of close friends who knew exactly what was going on, and one even had experience themselves, and they were invaluable to me. Like, they were, and still are, such a support. They could help just by listening, they could help by distracting me. They were completely there for me, and I really, really wouldn't have been able to do it without their support. And just, kind of giving into the hormones a little bit too. Like, if you feel mad, you're mad. If you feel tired, you're tired. Like, you can't pretend and put a happy face on all the time. You're putting your body through a huge amount. And there's a lot of emotions attached to it, a lot of, anger at your body, a lot of upset. You kind of just have to feel the feels a little bit.